Although I am really sad that you're not bringing Max into the meeting. But anyway,
We have an extra seat today.
I know we have several extra seats up here, but in any event, we'll call this meeting to order. Thank you all for being here. If we could please have a roll call by city clerk.
Councilmember Cardenas? Present. Councilmember Jackson?
Here.
Councilmember Silva?
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia is absent. Mayor Villegas Walker.
Here. At this time, we'll have a Pledge of Allegiance led by our Councilmember Jackson and our invocation by our Police Chief Johnson, please.
Please join me in saluting our flag and our country. Ready, begin.
I
If you would all join me in bowing your heads. Lord, I'd ask that on this special day, May 15th, it's Police Memorial Week, and as you look to all our public safety employees, that you do a special blessing for all our police officers and public safety professionals across this great nation. It's also Public Works employees' special week as well, and we know their work is dangerous as well. And so I'd ask that you would bless all of them and their families. And also, as we look to the leadership of our great city, to our mayor and our city council, our city manager, and our entire city staff, that you would bless us with wisdom and direction and guidance in the tough decisions that we know we have to make every day in the interest of the public that we serve. And I ask all these blessings to the city of El Centro and our surrounding communities in your name, Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you. The city council met in closed session today from 11:30 to approximately 2 p.m. At this time, we'll ask our city attorney to please report out on closed session.
Madam Mayor, we have no reportable action from closed session unless you would like a report on the charter litigation.
Well, since we are still without CBS and NBC, let's go ahead and have an update on our situation.
As you know, the city was sued in federal court by Charter Communications. We have filed a motion to dismiss that action. In response to our motion to dismiss, Charter has filed an amended complaint. I don't think it's a surprise to anyone that we will refile our motion to dismiss. Once the briefing on those motions is completed, which will be before the end of May, we will wait for an August 2nd court date. We are pursuing a special kind of motion that would allow us to recover attorney's fees for the dismissal and the action, and we will let you know how that goes.
Very good. And the FCC complaint?
The FCC complaint was filed. Charter responded. The group of cities involved, Yuma, Jackson Hole, Crescent City, and El Centro, responded. The document is available from the city manager's office, or if people let me know, I can email it to them. It's also posted on the FCC website. It is now in front of what's called the Media Advisory Committee, where it will be considered by the Media Advisory Committee or the FCC, hopefully within the next month to 6 weeks, although there is no time frame for that consideration.
Okay, very good. Thank you. The only other action coming out of closed session, we did have on the closed session agenda that we are going to start the annual evaluation process of our city clerk and city attorney, as we do every year. And we have formed working groups for that. The city attorney evaluation working group will be Jason Jackson and myself, and the city clerk working group will be council member Alex Cardenas and Mayor Pro Tem Edgar Garcia. So if we could add those to our task force working groups, city clerk. Thank you. This time, I am absolutely delighted to move forward with a proclamation for National Public Works Week. Those of you responsible for putting on the event today out in the courtyard and along the adjacent street, 2 thumbs up. It was amazing. It was a lot of information, very well done, very well laid out. I'm excited to do it again next year. We have some thoughts about maybe bringing in some high school and college students, because we certainly know that one of these days, not anytime soon, we hope, but one of these days, some of you may look to retire, although we will fight it. But if you look to retire, we need some talented folks to come in. And so we want to make sure that they're getting an idea of the robustness of what all that entails, because it's a lot of stuff that you do. And with that in mind, I'd like to read this proclamation. National Public Works Week, May 21 through 27, 2018. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities, and whereas our city's infrastructure and facilities would not exist without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals, and whereas City of El Centro Public Works employees are responsible for designing, building, improving, and protecting the city's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, and the public buildings essential for city government to deliver services to our community. And whereas we want to show our appreciation for the important contributions of our public works employees, and whereas the American Public Works Association has celebrated the annual National Public Works since 1960. Now therefore, I, Cheryl Villegas Walker, Mayor of the City of El Centro, State of California, do hereby proclaim the week May 21 through 27, 2018 as National Public Works Week in the City of El Centro. So, thank you very much. Mr. Campos, I think you had a brief presentation, and then what we would like to do is have everyone get together for a picture, please.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Mayor. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members. Along the same lines of what you just mentioned, National Public Works Week is an event that's recognized nationally to highlight the works of public works and to help encourage this for future generations. As you know, National Public Works Week is next week. We decided to host it this week to line up with this proclamation. Also, the theme for this year is the power of public works. And with that, you get a nice graphic on kind of just highlighting the different aspects of public works, from clean water to disposing of solid waste to building roads, bridges, and planning for implementing mass transit and other areas, and removing snow and roadways, not in El Centro.
Probably not here,
and
right.
Public Works Service that determine a society's quality of life.
Yes.
So with that said, the next slide is something new for Public Works, something that we're going to be implementing, which is a new logo, a new branding for Public Works in the city of Centro. We don't have that. Other departments in the city have that, so we're introducing something new. We work with Spectrum. They've created a logo based on some feedback, and I'll explain this logo. On the 4-quadrant diamond there, you have something for roads, or streets, and our road maintenance programs. You have the water drop, and it's in green with blue outline. Those are water and sewer facilities. We manage the wastewater treatment plant and the water treatment plant. Then we have a building. That's our facilities maintenance, and all the facilities that are maintained throughout the city, I think over 38. And then we have our solid waste and recycling program. And also in the O, on Public Works, it's a gear. That's our city shop. We also maintain our city vehicles, including the PD vehicles. So I wanted to create a brand, a purpose for Public Works. So what is that? So I started looking around different agencies and giving ideas. And what do we do here, especially in a desert environment, you know? So we serve our community by sustaining and improving life. So that's how we serve our communities. Public Works, we work for the public. We're here to serve, and we want to support our community through maintaining the city facilities, the city buildings in operative shape, the AC working, the water running, the wastewater systems working, the signal lights operational. Public Works is a lot that happens in the background. Mm-hmm. A lot of it is not seen. What's seen in the public is the cones and the street crews. That's about it. There's a grid of network of piping under the streets. more overhead for even our signal lights and radio infrastructure for water metering and other systems. So with that, I just wanted to introduce you to our City of Central Public Works and our new logo. And thank you for the proclamation.
That's excellent. I love the green and the blue. It reminds me of, recycling and energy efficiency and all of that good stuff. Comments?
I just want to just say, I'm just grateful for the passion and the pride that you guys show. I drive around our city and it's looking really, really good. And I want to thank you, Mr. Campos, for your leadership. Also want to recognize Mr. Mark Limon and all the leadership there. You guys do an incredible job in some of the most extreme climates in the world, and yet you guys do your very best. And so I do want to personally thank you guys and just know that your work is greatly appreciated. And thank you so much for having pride in the work that you do. So thank you.
I like the logo. I think, I like, it gives you guys some identity, I think, and I like the fact that I see today how you guys all work together and putting on a really nice presentation for everybody. And so it kind of goes without saying, it's one big family in the Public Works Department. I think you guys all work together to accomplish a lot of things for our city. And like Alex said, I'm very thankful that we have such great staff and great leadership. And today's demonstration out there was great. I mean, I wish I'd had a little more time to look over some of the other stuff, but I look forward to next year. And I think our mayor had a great idea about trying to maybe bring in some of the schools and maybe high school or college kids to really see, because I don't think they get an opportunity to see what you guys do and all that's involved with making everything go for our city. So thank you very much.
Thank you also, Abraham. So please relate to every single employee in Public Works how much they're appreciated by me and by the entire council, because unfortunately, a lot of the good work that you do goes unnoticed, and it only gets noticed when something needs to be fixed. The water's off, or the sewer is not working, or the lights. So a lot of the good work that you do, many times we don't think about it because it's not in front of us that we see it, but it's so much appreciated for the health and benefit of our citizens. So please relay that to every single employee that you have in Public Works.
And sure will do. And also we'll have the management staff here. And going along those lines, I showed a video today, and basically if something exciting happens, we did something wrong.
Yeah.
So it's water break or something else,
Yeah.
So I'd like to introduce and give thanks to our management staff. And going back to the logos we have on the wastewater treatment plant, Felix de Leon. Not sure if you've met him before. On the underground crews and street maintenance, we have Mark Limon, who's our supervisor. We have Mike Reed, facility maintenance, and Hector Munoz on the water treatment side. So these are the folks that ran our 65 employee strong division. So thank you.
Outstanding. All right, let's picture time then.
Hector?
Okay. Abraham, the next item is the introduction of new Public Works staff.
All right, so along the lines of growth and keeping our city great, so I'm happy to introduce Christian Tejada, which is over here. So if you come mind join us, yeah, by your family, I see. So that's great. He's our new Underground Utilities Division Certified Water Distribution Operator Sewer one. I hope there's hired just a second part too. But he was hired on April 2nd of 2018 and has joined the crew with Mark Limon. And he's here to talk about a little bit about himself.
This is the worst part about your job.
Yeah,
You
I
have
know.
to speak in public.
I know that. Well, my name is Christian Tejada. I'm 22 years old. I live in Brawley, California. And I just want to say thank you to everybody to give me this opportunity. I hope I can be a good element for the city. I also want to say thank you to my girlfriend and my parents.
Oh,
And, well,
that's the best.
my partners, my coworkers, and my leaderships are very welcome to me, and I like my job very well, very much.
Excellent. Well, we're very, very glad you're here.
Thank you, and welcome to the city of El Centro. How did you get your license, your water distribution license?
Oh, I got my distribution 1 and my water treatment 1 and my wastewater 1.
Okay. Where, did you go to school for that?
Yeah, I went to IBC.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Who's the dean?
I kept waiting
Yeah.
for that.
And who oversaw those programs?
Who's the dean of that program?
Mr. Silvas.
That's hilarious.
Welcome to the city of El Centro.
Thank
And I'm
you,
very
thank you.
proud of you. As a matter of fact, we're going to start a wall of fame, so we're going to take your picture and put it right there to show our other graduates that there's jobs for them.
All right, thank you very much. And also my T-shirt, Mr. Felix.
That's hilarious. All right.
It's a good thing he didn't say like COD or something, like you knew it was IBC.
took a
yeah.
chance.
Yeah. No, just welcome, and it's always good. This is always one of the fun parts, I think, for the council is when we get to meet you guys and, not in the workplace, but come up and talk, and we get to know you guys a little bit better. So I'm just say welcome to El Centro, and you're working with a group, good group of guys and
Oh, yeah.
gals, and I think you're going to like it here in El Centro.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
So you can
Thank you.
move if you want to.
yeah.
And everything's been said, but just welcome to our family, and we appreciate you being here, and look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
And Abraham, I just want to let you know I wore a tie to match your logo.
Oh, there you go.
So, yeah, I
Really appreciate it.
I coordinated that for you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah,
Well
it's
done.
good, huh?
Okay, the next item on our agenda is a presentation by our favorite high school district, Central Union High School District. We're joined tonight by the superintendent. Hey, we look pretty good holding that stuff.
Yeah.
And this is regarding a mentor program at Desert Oasis High School.
Thank you, Mayor Villegas Walker, City Council, and Central City staff. We're extremely grateful for the opportunity to be here this evening and talk to our City Council and the rest of our community about our recently established mentor program at Desert Oasis High School. We recently started this program and have recruited two people from our community that have been very, very involved in the past. And I'm sure you all know them very well. Mr. Eddie Madueño is one of our mentors. And also Mr. Joe Montenegro is also one of our mentors. So the reason we are here this evening is really twofold. One is to spread the word about our mentor program that we started at Desert Oasis, and also ask for your help in recruiting members of the community that could also help us collectively make a difference for our students at Desert Oasis High School. And so we do have a brief presentation, and it should be no more than 10 minutes. And we've invited Principal Fernando Ocampo to deliver the presentation because he's actually the mastermind behind this mentor program and is extremely involved and very proud of what we've already accomplished in such short period of time. So I'd like to invite Mr. Principal Ocampo up to the podium. So thank you, Mr. Ocampo.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here to present. The idea started with the mentor program. As some of you know, Desert Oasis has a mock trial, and we do compete with the bigger schools. I saw and the coach saw that there was a potential out there for our students at Desert Oasis. A lot of our students that are there are at risk students. They're behind on credits, so we give them that opportunity. And we saw that many of our students, the minute they were part of this mock trial, they embraced it, and they kind of felt like a team, like a family. Because a lot of our kids, either they come from casa, we have a couple of them from casa, we have a lot of them that come from single-parent homes, so they need people who they can look up to. They need mentors, and we've been out in the community trying to recruit, mentors to be able to be part of these group of kids. We have 32 students that are volunteer part of this program. Like Mr. Montaño said, we have Joe Montenegro right now and Eddie Madueño. I mean, they meet every 2 weeks. They're on our campus. There's themes, and they also work with IVROP. They have already like a curriculum set, where they talk about, assets, that are important for them. That many times, not because things happen outside, from school and things that they can't control, that is in their environment, it doesn't mean that things need to go bad all the time. So, I mean, that's one of the things that, we've tried to embrace, for these 32 kids. Desert Oasis, as many of you have known, has the stigma that, that's where we have the bad kids. We don't. We don't have bad kids. It's, what we embrace of them as the adults there at that school. And a lot of them, they come to us and they like being there. So I've been there 3 years, and as many of you know, and thank you, Alex, for being part of that. Our school, was given, this year, the designation of being a model continuation high school, because we've started to bring a lot of things, a lot of opportunities, to our kids. We took our students to your program, Mr. Silva out there to IVC, because we want them to be exposed to things out there. IVC, what does IVC provide? And all these kids are part of this mentor program. Giving them the opportunity. I know that you guys were talking about giving them an opportunity to bring, high school kids. I would love to, for you guys to even consider our school to bring some of these kids, to the city.
Yes.
Even if it's, shadowing, some people around, the city, the employees and so forth, but that there's more out there for them. Instead of having them out on the streets, getting in trouble, this is an opportunity. So, I mean, that's the whole reason of the mentor program, giving them opportunities and hope that there's more out there for them. Questions? I know my PowerPoint is long, but I just feel very passionate about it.
I'm okay. There's a PowerPoint that's coming up.
Yeah,
correct?
there's a
Okay.
PowerPoint, but you know what? It's just data, that
That's
I
all right.
can present.
I'll defer to after the PowerPoint.
Okay.
You have the clicker there, Mr.
Okay.
Is that the technical term for it?
Clicker. Well,
That's what we all call it. Yeah, we call it the clicker.
the clicker. Okay.
The thingy.
Okay. So there it is, who we are. We're a continuation high school that provides students an opportunity to meet high school graduation requirements, such as appropriate credit, courses there. I mean, we're a small school. We have about 184 students there, but all of them have, different needs. So we try to, differentiate, each student's needs. And again, bringing them opportunities for them to succeed, in life and at school. There's always challenges, again, is trying to get them to graduate. As you see there, 30%, our first cohort there, since I've been there, 30%, graduated. 2015, 2016, it was 33, and the 16, 17 was at 42%. So we've been gradually increasing our graduation rate. Again, now talking about IVC, attending IVC. So we're trying to, get more kids out there to IVC. We started, with 22%, the 14, 15. 15, 16 was 25%, and the 16, 17 was 22%. So we're trying to push more for them to see beyond, just getting high school diploma. The challenges that we have there is that 76% of our students are below 2.0 and not on track to graduate in 4 years. 48% of our students are English learners. 92% of our students receive free or reduced breakfast and lunch. Okay, so those are the challenges that we have. We do try to help as much as we can, and we really push them, having meetings with the parents. Attendance is a big one. There's a lot of our students that are constantly absent from school because for one reason or the other, they have to have at home, they have to babysit, for
Right.
the parents and so forth, because, a lot of them come from, single-parent homes. So our LAMP program, we call it our Leadership and Mentor program. It's called LAMP. We started in February. We started with 32 students, and they're still strong there. They're holding on. But again, it's because of these two individuals that bring a lot to them, a lot to the table. Eddie brings a lot of experience, of being in law enforcement, being involved in the community. Same thing with Joe Montenegro, too. So why do we need mentors? According to the National Mentoring Program, mentoring is at its core guarantees young people that there is someone who cares about them, assures them that they are not alone in dealing with day-to-day challenges, and makes them feel like they matter. And that's a big one, that they matter, because a lot of them think that, simply because they're there, they're just being, kind of pushed over to the other school. What is a mentor? A mentor is an older, wiser person who makes a commitment to guide and inspire younger or less seasoned individuals. The mentor program progression is mentoring is like planting seeds. You plant, next the person fertilizes, next person waters, and next person is the sun. Who are our mentees? Again, it's a LAMP mentoring program. It's a one-to-one initiative for students at Desert Oasis High School. Mentors are concerned community members matched with students who have common leadership interests. Mentors focus on developing the relationships while also talking about students' dreams and goals. The mentor requirements, they have to complete a screening process, attend the initial mentoring training, 3 hours maximum, commitment for participants to meet 2 to 3 times a month for approximately 60 minutes at the school, starting during the advisory period, which is at 2. Abide by confidentiality and reporting policies, communicate with program staff periodically, and receive their support. So again, this process is, we're working with IVRP to help us with all this process too, at the same time. So again, for more information, and I'm here to try to recruit mentors, if you're interested in, in being part of this, you can always get a hold of me, and that's my phone number right there in my email. We need people, we need adults, that, care about, our kids in our community. Thank you.
Okay, excellent presentation. I know we have some questions.
Sure.
Mr. Cardenas?
There are more comments, Madam Mayor. I wanted to really just highlight and thank that you for taking on this initiative. It's amazing what you guys have done with the culture out there. I wanted to first highlight some of the educators there. Mr. Benacourt, who works there, does an amazing job with the mock trial team. Some of the people that you're engaging, Judge Nunez is very active with the school, and so you guys are putting quite an A-team together. And so I want to really congratulate you on taking this approach and embracing these types of students and really turning around and providing career pathways to them. Also, just wanted to provide a couple comments to Mr. Montaño. You're doing an incredible job with that school district. Everything from sports to the pedigree in our academics, the enrichment. The stars are falling on you, my friend. And so I do appreciate the leadership at our school district and want to thank you. I think Officer Thompson raised his hand in the back to be a mentor, maybe? No? Did I see your hand go up? No?
Take Mac with
But, again, if we can definitely provide some nominations for mentors, so we'll be in touch with you. But keep up the great work. Great job over there.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, a couple questions. Who are you targeting as far as the mentees? Doesn't matter on the school age? Are they freshmen through seniors, or?
Well, right now, because Desert Oasis, it's students who are 16 and up, so that's our
Mostly
target.
juniors and seniors?
Mostly juniors and seniors.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I think it's a great program. I think there's been a lot of success documented over the years with mentor programs, Big Brother and type of things, programs like that. So I think that what you guys have got going over there is a great foundation for something in the future and to expand on that. And, there's a lot of great people in this community that I think will step forward and help with that mentoring process. And certainly I think we have some great people within our city and maybe even on our council that can help with that. But I'm glad to see Eddie and Joe. Those are two premier people in our community that give a lot of themselves and continue to give to make our city and community better. So I'm glad to see those two people involved. And Ronaldo, you're doing a great job. Thanks.
Thank you. No, we always, I always feel like we care about all of our citizens, we care about all of our residents, but there's really a special place in my heart for young people going to Desert Oasis High School. Having been an at-risk student myself, I know how much mentors mean to you and responsible adults that provide guidance, because without some of those adults, I wouldn't be here with you today. And the work that Mr. Montaño and you are doing is just incredible. I'll share a couple of things. So at IBC, we are actually teaching a college class on campus at Desert Oasis High School, and we have probably our best speech professor, Dr. Nguyen, teaching the class. And I know there was a few challenges at first, but I tell you what, now I spoke to her maybe about a week ago. She absolutely adores those kids and what they mean to her, and how much she cares for them and how much she wants to help them. It's just an incredible testimony on both her and the work that you do. And also, as you mentioned, when we tour your students in our facility, Chief, we actually had them go through our shooting simulator at the college, and they were excited.
They were?
They were extremely excited, and two of them said to me, I want to be a peace officer. I want to be a police officer. And I told them, you absolutely can do that, So it's just that encouragement, showing them that, that things are possible. So sign me up.
Okay.
Sign me up. Sign me up. I will do it.
Okay. Well, thank you. You're awesome.
So I have the benefit of doing like a little broadcast in the morning,
Oh,
kind of
okay.
recapping our meeting. So I just want to make sure I have this correct. So there's a screening process, 3 hours of training, 2 to 3 meetings per month of about 60 minutes. And then I have the contact information. How many young ladies do you have?
We have two groups, but it's a total of 32. So I would probably say about 12 right now.
12. All right. So I am going to go out there and find us 12 really exciting mentors for those young ladies.
Nice.
Because I think it's just so important that you have, like you were saying in your presentation, it's so important to have somebody that believes in you, right? And I've always said that if every single child could just feel like they're the center of somebody's universe, all of our problems would disappear. And I just think it's really important that we give back, because all of us, the fact that we're in this room, all of us have so much. And I'm sure that we can find folks to fill that role. So,
Actually, just to recap on that, I was remembering right now, yesterday I had a young lady that, former student, from there, the first year I was there, came to me and showed me that, her certificate, that now she was a nursing assistant. She had finished.
That's awesome.
She said, I just wanted you to see this.
yes.
That, thank you, for believing in me and giving me the opportunity, to stay at Desert Oasis. Because she was already 18, but I said, you know what? As long as you're doing what you have to do, I'll support you 100%. So she came back, she said, Mr. Ocampo, I'm done. So now, she said, what are you going to do with this? I said, I'm going to work, but I'm going to continue IBC because I want to finish, I want to get into the RNA program.
Awesome. That's amazing.
And then we can find her a job at El Centro Regional Medical Center. I think we've got it worked out.
Okay.
So, outstanding presentation. We really appreciate all that you're doing for our students.
If I could just make one last comment.
Please.
And first of all, I'd like to thank you again for giving us the opportunity to share the wonderful things that we are doing in our district, but specifically Desert Oasis Continuation High School. One last thought that I'm sure everyone here can relate to. Nationwide, statewide, there's a push for us to increase graduation rates and to reduce dropout rates. What we have found, not only nationally, but also in a study that we recently conducted in our school district, is that the students that typically drop out are those that are disenfranchised, those that do not have a sense of belonging in the
Right.
school community, okay? And so in order for us to combat that unfortunate fact and reality, we need to ensure that students feel a connection with the school site, with the school community. And we have to extend beyond our walls because there's not enough of us. Hence, we are here asking our school community to join us in this effort to, again, collectively combat this unfortunate reality. Recently, in a study that we conducted in our own district, we have seen that the students that are involved in at least one activity, whatever that may be, significantly outperform those students that are not involved at all. So if we can involve every student in at least one activity, whatever that may be, we have a better chance at making a difference for our students. And so with that, I plead that you help us in this effort, and it'll be fun. So thank you once again for having us
thank you.
this evening.
Can we do this? Can we like sign you up to come back, say 6 months from now and
Sure.
give us an update like we did with your attendance?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay,
By
that
all
would be
means.
great. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for
very
being
much.
here.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you
All
very
right. Okay, all right, so this is exciting. We now have the introduction of Jeff Gonzalez, who is a candidate for the 56th Assembly District. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Can I, before I even go any further and before you leave, I'm just in awe of the way you guys do things here. You just feel, it just feels like home, especially, you know, the way the family is here, the way, the passion that you have, the chief and the team, it feels right. So I just want to commend the leadership and this community for just feeling at home. And I've never seen where you introduce somebody from Public Works for anywhere, and they just get a chance to talk. So you guys are doing it right. So
Thank you.
yeah, I just want to give you guys a hand. My name is Jeff Gonzalez. I'm your candidate for the 56th Assembly District. I wanted to come out here and introduce myself, one, to all of you that are here, and of course to all of you. I am a retired Marine. I served 4 combat tours, 2 to Iraq, 2 to Afghanistan. And from being a Marine, I turned pastor. And why would I go from Marine to pastor and then pastor to politician? Maybe a little crazy, but it might be the Marine in me. I've set some materials in front of you so that way you can get a chance to see a little bit about who I am. But what I wanted to talk about really quickly is the 56th Assembly District, and that's all of Imperial County, you know, Palo Verde and the Coachella Valley. If you look at the way it's split, the 56 with other districts, you know, one can say that we have the haves and the have-nots. And I look at it from a business perspective, from an education perspective. I look at it from thriving communities perspective, and let me elaborate on that. From a business perspective, in California as a whole, businesses are being driven out. We need to do some things. Number one, there's a $900 fee for a small business to get started, and that's like every year that takes place. But when you have regular folks like us who just want to start a business, who have a great idea, who can innovate, but that $900 may be a little bit far out of reach, at the state level, we could do something to cut that. Yes, of course, you know, maybe a fee of $99, but $900, that's, to me, that's a roadblock to innovation. That's a roadblock to communities such as El Centro. Number 2, education. We're so far down on the totem pole when it comes to education with respect to 44th and 46th when it comes to reading and math. And my mom was an educator. When I was in the Marine Corps, I got a chance to be an educator as well. I went to the IVC Foundation piece. I loved, that was just amazing to be able to see that. What I believe is that there's centralized planning and decentralized execution. There's a lot of things that happen at the state level that can be taken care of at the local level. And we need to give the authority back to the local community, as we say in the Marine Corps, to the ground level troops to be able to utilize those funds in a way that would benefit them. Calexico is, you know how they have the rating 1 through 10, it's a 1. But you have some places that are much higher than that. I'd love to see, and my mom made me promise that if I get elected to take care of educators, or else she would come from Mexico and beat me up. So to me, education is huge. I got a chance to get education paid by the Marine Corps. I got my associates and my bachelor's and working on my master's. I'm a firm believer in that. I'm a firm believer in opportunities, more opportunities for people. So to hear that link that took place, absolutely love that. We need to encourage that. We need to promote that, and we need to find ways to make sure that there's no roadblocks for educators and education systems at the local level, because that's the key. You know what you have at your level. Public safety. None of us, well, very few of us, if any, go into our homes and leave our doors unlocked and go to sleep. I believe that our public safety and public works needs to be taken care of. My wife's family across the board are all police officers. I served in the Marine Corps. I was an agent and did intelligence work. If the officers at the local level, at the county level, and across the state are not taken care of with respect to proper funding, proper equipment, and we at the state level aren't helping cities to do that, then we're doing a disservice to my family. And I want to take care of my family. And that includes the peace officers and the public works folks as well. Lastly, I believe in thriving community government. And I think there's a three-legged stool for that. The three-legged stool for community government is government, elected folks, and those who are staff. Number two, the businesses and organizations, the Kiwanis clubs, the local Pepsi guy, and then the religious organizations. I had a chance to work with in the Coachella Valley with this, as I like to call it, three-legged stool. And we saw more impact in communities when we stood together and went home to home and said, how can we help? I think from a state level, we need to promote that more often. That's a key, and I promise to be a leader of that. As a Marine, I'm a fighter. God knows that I was built to be a fighter. I thought, as a pastor, I'd be nice and quiet and I'd live the good life unretired and play golf somewhere, but apparently this dog can still hunt. Our communities are hurting, and I want to help to be the solution and not the problem. So with that, if you have any questions, again, my name is Jeff Gonzalez. I'm running for the 56th Assembly District. A few of you know me. You know I'm a man of more talk, more bite, more fight than a man of talk. So if you have any questions, I'm all open.
Thank you.
Nope, I just want to thank you for being here and wish you the very best. It's quite a
Thank you.
challenge, and just appreciate the fact that you threw your name in the hat.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's always good for candidates to come and introduce themselves to the local government, get an opportunity to meet, our staff and some of our residents, and I certainly am encouraged by you doing so, and I wish you well in your endeavor, and I like some of the things you're talking about, so I'd like to see more localized government. I'd like to see not Sacramento always telling us what to do because they think they know better than us, and we live in these communities. We shop in our stores, we eat in our restaurants, and we certainly know our community better than people in Sacramento. So some of that really resonates well with me. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Likewise, I think, thank you for being here. I think the fact that you're here shows that you care about our community, and that was an excellent presentation. I really was impressed by your thoughts and your goals. Best of luck.
Thank you. I've left my card there if you have any questions.
Perfect.
My cell phone number's on there. It's the only cell phone I've ever had, cell phone number, so you can reach me at any time. I am a servant. I don't want to go to Sacramento to be a king. I already serve a king. So that's who I am.
All right, Mr. Gonzalez, thank you so much for being here. We very much appreciate you running for office. All of us have experienced that. I think it takes either a special individual or somebody that's just slightly off-center. So thank you very much, and
Thank
good
you.
luck.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
All right. At this time, we're going to move forward with the consent agenda. We are pulling item number 14 as we've received a number of speaker slips, and we do need to explain a little bit about the process there. With regard to item number 11, I'll note that I did have opportunity to exchange emails with both the city attorney, city manager, and Public Works with regard to that particular extension of the agreement. We will get the signatures notarized prior to that. And I did raise a question as to how how does the city track its contracts, either by department or collectively? Who has the master list of contracts? Who knows when they're up for renewal? Who knows when that renewal window is? So we may be looking at going to some kind of a contract software. We'll report back to that without getting too deep in the weeds. Okay.
Madam Mayor, can
yep.
I suggest, or I would like to just real briefly pull 10 and 12, just for some general comments.
Very good. Items 10 and 12. All right. So with that, we are looking for a motion to approve items 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, and 13. Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Silva, second by Councilmember Cardenas. Oh, wait.
Oh.
Do I hit abstain for,
Let me mark Mr. Garcia out.
okay,
If I can mark him.
well, for now, I'll just abstain him. Well, 1 absent. Okay, so that passes with 4 with 1 absent. Moving on to item number 10, then, Mr. Cardenas, you pulled that?
Yes, just very briefly, Mayor. I just want to just, first of all, just thank you for actually looking at this policy statement again and revising it and asking for input from our council members. And the reason why I pulled it is, again, just to provide provide comments and thank you for looking at it. I believe it's a very equitable and transparent process. And so I do want to thank you for taking our considerations and also thank Liz for kind of putting this together. I think when you look back at this policy statement, and it's really evolved into something that's very transparent and, like I said, very equitable, and I think it's going to be very effective in our community. So I do want to thank you for taking a look at that and updating that. And with that, I'd motion to accept that policy revision.
Very good. Do you want me to abstain for Mr.?
It should be absent, should appear absent.
I have a yes, no, and abstain for.
It's not taking,
All right, let's see what happens.
do we want to try to revote and then I'll put him in as absent?
Okay.
Or do we want to go with what it's appearing?
What, it's your preference.
Let's try to revote,
Okay,
answer the vote.
okay, so
Start
that
it
vote will be canceled and we'll start again.
Nope, it's not taking it. I'm putting in absent and
Okay, very good. Then we'll move forward. That was approved, 4 with 1 absent. It's moving on to item number 12. Mr. Cardenas?
Yes, again, also just more comments in regards to recognizing staff. This community benefit grant agreement application is an opportunity for us to apply for a grant. And I want to thank Liz again for participating in the workshop, and also staff just looking for these grant opportunities to supplement our general fund. So it's not an easy process, but the fact that Liz got this on the agenda, this resolution is absolutely critical to applying for the grant fund. So again, just pulling it to provide compliments and give praise to staff for pursuing these types of grant opportunities. So with that being said, I would also motion that this be approved, and thank again Liz for her help on this.
Okay, and that did pass, 4 with 1 absent. There we go. Okay, with regard to item number 14, we did pull that. We do have 3 speaker slips. I think what we'd like to do is take a minute just to kind of talk about what the process needs to be or will be, at least for this short window of time. We know that the request to decertify the Teamsters came right at the time that we were gearing up to start our negotiations for the coming fiscal year, which starts July 1st. So we felt that at this point in time, it was best to move the current Teamster group back into the group where they were prior to going out with the Teamsters. That being said, we are going to make accommodations during the negotiation process because we understand that there is a request to meet with your attorney present. And to do that, we are going to facilitate that and make that happen. We also understand that coming in March of next year, so that would be before the start of the next fiscal year and negotiations, there is an opportunity for the city to take a look at forming a separate bargaining unit for that group if that's the way collectively we decide we want to move. But given the timing and everything else, we feel that it really is in the best interest of the city and of the employees at this time that they be included within their former bargaining unit with the accommodation so that the attorney is able to present your views, and we think it has mostly to do with the certifications and that sort of thing, and then to revisit in March of next year from a timing perspective. Did I misstate anything? I'm going to look to Terry, our city attorney and city manager, or collectively, that's kind of the approach we would like to take. At this time,
Madam Mayor, can I piggyback a little bit on your
Please.
comments? I wanted to share with the group that, our staff and our council has been looking at this situation, and I'm actually very pleased on how they're handling it, and, considering a carve-out and a separate discussion. The timing of it, can be a challenge. But I just want to let you guys know that behind the scenes, staff and our council is looking at this to determine what is in the best interest. And again, as our mayor stated, there's a timing component there, and there's some significant accommodations that the city is making to make sure that your voices are being heard, and then also the possibility of revisiting this in March. So again, the council staff is making sure that we are doing everything we're looking at it from multiple perspectives, and they're actually working hard to make sure that your voices are being heard. I just wanted to say that, and do appreciate staff and our mayor and giving this its due diligence.
I think that our negotiations actually are going to get underway May 23rd, right? So, is anything or, okay. So, let's see, Matt, Manuel, Alvaro, did you have some comments you would like to make at this time? Okay.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, council members, Ms. Piedra. As you know, my name is Matt Hartnett. I am a distribution operator with the city.
Yes.
And I just wanted to lay out more of the facts of what happened. We were turned down to have our own bargaining unit. The reason being that we didn't have the certified copies of our organization's constitution and bylaws, which we do have. We did turn a copy in today to your office, Ms. Piedra's office at 4 o'clock. And we're asking if the city could waive respectfully asking if you could waive the time constraint on, it's just a minor administrative detail we overlooked, and I don't believe it's caused a hardship. And we just feel that we're just a little put off by the resistance for us to be on our own, because that's how this whole thing started. As you know, the State Water Resources Control Board issues licenses to the water treatment plant operators, the wastewater treatment plant operators, and us, the distribution operators. Our licenses come from the same office. We deal with the same people. If anything, why can't we be put in with the operators? We are operators, and we don't feel that we should be put in with the general employees group. And that's all I have to say on that. And also, we just feel our rights are not being met. And, as in section 3507.3, professional employees shall not be denied the right to be represented separately from non-professional employees by a professional employee organization consisting of such professional employees. In the event of the dispute on the appropriateness of a unit, the representation for professional employees upon request of any of the parties, the dispute shall be submitted to the Division of Conciliation of the Department of Industrial Relations for mediation on or for recommendation for resolving the dispute. And, we don't want to go that far with it. I mean,
Yeah.
we just don't understand the resistance to it. I mean, and as far as we've gone to a lot of trouble to get all, follow the law, follow all the rules, and we feel that this bylaw was a small mistake that I feel that the HR department knew for over a month that we didn't have that document turned in, and we're wondering why, maybe they could have tipped us off to that, or, and we understand we need to do our homework too.
Right.
But,
Well, but I don't think it comes down to a technicality, and I don't want to kind of cross the line here and have the city attorney come over and conk me on the head because we're kind of crossing line. But a couple of other things I just want to mention. One is that the city council's intent for the last several years has been to kind of clean up our bargaining units. I mean, at one time, I think we had 13 different MOUs, and that's just simply crazyville when you only have, 212, 213 employees. So the intent all along has been to group like employees together.
Right.
Now, given that, we do feel that with the special carve-out and accommodation for you for this go-round is appropriate.
Okay.
You are aware that we're bringing in an outside
Correct.
consultant to assist us with negotiations this year, and the marching orders have been, we want you to do a holistic look at all of the MOUs, at all of the groupings, to make sure that they are appropriately aligned. Am I doing okay so far, Ms. Martin?
Yeah,
Okay.
you are.
So just kind of looking at a little bit of the strategy is for us to make sure that all of our employees, including your group, are appropriately placed. So we're just asking you to bear with us during this one little time until March of next year. And we're hoping that, like we said, the consultant comes back with recommendations, either things look really good or you're off a little bit here, just to see what we can do.
Yeah, but like I said, we thought we were doing everything on time.
Right.
That's why we're a little put off by it.
Yeah,
And we are state licensed operators. and
absolutely.
I would imagine our union or represents would be with
Right.
the operators.
Right,
So-
and I think that one of the things that I struggle with is that during negotiation time, it feels like we're no longer on the same team.
Oh, yeah, I understand
And we are,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
that. Yeah, and
it-
we're trying to do everything, I mean,
Right.
we're trying, and,
Yeah.
We're not lawyers,
Right,
And we have been
exactly.
navigating
And-
this.
right,
And we
and-
just feel that our rights, every time we get to
Right.
a certain spot, was administrative.
Right.
Very minor.
Right,
And now
right.
we're dead in the water again, and I don't understand.
Well,
it
and
at all.
I guess I'm just asking you to have a little faith in this
Okay.
council,
Oh, well, okay.
that we are absolutely committed to doing the right thing.
Okay. All right, that's all I have
What
to
we're
say.
asking.
Thank you.
Okay, and so, Manuel or Alvaro would, okay.
I got a lot in the air tonight. I just,
Are you gonna tell a joke or
No.
dance for us or magic trick? That would be great.
I was here a few weeks ago. The last time I was here, I think it was 2014. We had that presentation, that DVD going, and it's been too many years, I think, that we've been discussing this and talking about this behind closed doors and in front of the public. And I'd just like to say a little bit about myself, even though I'm going on 10 years as a certified water distribution operator working for the city of El Centro. And, you know, I've been married 15 years. Mr. Cardenas knows me from him advocating for us as we try to adopt our 3 children from the county. So we do have 3 adopted children. Excuse me. After 15 years married, like I said, and my wife is finally pregnant with our first child, so we won't
Congratulations.
be using CASA anytime soon, but but I appreciate all his help behind the scenes. You know, like I said, we were here 2014, and we've been working on this for, you know, 4 or 5 years before 2014 happened. We believe that 2014 was the year that it was going to be resolved. I believe it should have been resolved. Closed doors, and it really hasn't. It's been a can that's been kicked around far too long. And if you would have told me in 2014 I'd be up here in 2018 talking about the same thing, I would have probably found another job somewhere else, because it's just, I just don't believe that this is continuing to go on. And like my coworker Matthew Hartnett was saying, you know, we're just, the frustration you're hearing is just from we're just venting. We're just tired of it. Just that can just, it looks as though it's going to be resolved, but just the years go by, and it's just, our families take a toll because we're just so consumed after hours with this whole case that should have been dealt with. So 2014, we did discuss it, like I said. And there was a state mediator that came down, and he gave that recommendation for us to be, for our review to be done. And that review, an unbiased review, was never done. And, you know, I started out the intro by kind of lightening up the air intentionally, because I believe myself to be, just like that Marine pastor, a politician now, to be an honorable man, a man of his word, and something that I don't stand behind something that I don't believe that is right to stand behind. And I would like to believe that you know, whatever I'm a part of, whatever I'm included in, and whatever I'm heading, in this case, the Certified Water Distribution Operator Bargaining Unit, I wouldn't be up here if I didn't know that it can be resolved easily and even behind closed doors, but unfortunately it hasn't, and hence the reason for our presence this evening. So we did go through Teamsters, assuming that we were going to resolve it with Teamsters, and it just was a big headache. We were doing all the background investigating, going to other cities, getting paperwork, and it just was, it was nonsense. We just paid dues for no reason.
What were you paying, if I could ask? What were your dues?
I was right around $50 a month. And so really was going towards us, because we were doing all the legwork. So that fell through. Of course, hindsight's 2020. We won't be seeking their representation anytime soon. So we did decertify the Teamsters, as you all are aware, and we did, you know, recently submit this form, in which I believe is in accordance to our rights as public employees, to form our own bargaining unit. And I believe it was submitted in a timely manner. And I believe, even though there is a time crunch, that it can happen. Now, I appreciate the accommodation with our attorney being, you know, present, hopefully this coming March, to resolve.
No, the accommodation, those discussions are going to occur now. The March of next year is when we would look to see if we should modify bargaining units. No, you're going to be able to meet with the attorney, your attorney, city's attorney, I don't know, next week, whenever your folks are available.
Okay, so.
No, that's not delayed till then.
So I'm assuming that we're going to be placed with the general bargaining unit, just so we're not in limbo, as Mrs. Evans had stated 2 weeks ago. And we did receive a memo from the city manager a few days ago stating the reasons why we were placed with the general bargaining unit, and it says that we have to have similarities. And according to Section 8, I believe this is a resolution agreement. Section 8, these are the reasons why we were placed with the general bargaining unit, and it states in Section A that we have to have a similarity of general kinds of work performed, types of qualifications required, and the general working conditions. So those were the reasons why we were placed. And other than the reason you had stated earlier, that we were part of the general bargaining unit prior to being Teamsters. And 4 of us were actually the treatment operator bargaining unit before Teamsters. It was split, and I don't want to get into those details, but for the sake of time, you know, I still reserve the right to be you know, I'm just not in agreement with being placed with the general bargaining unit. Of course, I said the reasons why. And I still do believe that we can still make it happen for us to form our own bargaining unit this year, being that we have an attorney this year and he's ready to go, and it won't, you know, prolong or give any more headaches to the, I understand there have been, there used to be 13 bargaining units before, you have 7 now, and the last thing we want is to, like I've said before probably 5, 6 times, is to create another headache for the city of El Centro. And my last desire is to, you know, bring just this thickness of air at the negotiating table. I've been with Teamsters, I've been on the table with the treatment operator bargaining unit as their vice president, and that's the last thing on my mind. I do desire to work as a team, and just given the history, just the amount of years we've put in with, you know, different negotiators or negotiating bargaining units, and it's just been kicked around so long, it just feels like it's just going to be kicked around again. And I understand you said, you know, put some faith in the current city council, and that's what I want to do tonight. But I still reserve and hold on to my right to form my own bargaining unit this time around. And I do promise you that even though we will be one more to the 7 currently, that we will not, we will be just negotiating this one thing that should have been, in my opinion, resolved back in 2014. So I just don't understand the resistance. I'm not too sure why we're being placed with the general bargaining unit. I heard the reasons. You know, I heard the, you know, accommodations, and I just don't see why the time crunch is the magic wand to just make everything right, because we have placed our faith in the city council for the past, I mean, since I've been, for day one, for me personally. And being with different bargaining units, we have placed our faith in you guys. And it's just, you know, I don't want this to sound bad, but just things go on behind closed doors that I would not want to voice tonight. And it just feels that, you know, we're just being confined to this corner and being placed in the shadows, and we've been there far too long, and it just feels like our voice is just being just shoved aside. And it felt like this year was, I saw light at the end of the tunnel. I really believe that, you know, going along with our rights and timing and the paperwork that we did submit in a timely manner, that we would have been granted that. And it just seems that we're being denied that, and we're being placed against our will. Of course, I understand the accommodations, but I mean, of course, it's just you could sense the, you know,
Frustration.
frustration.
Okay, so let's start working on solution. And the solution is, you have Mr. Richards' phone number,
Correct.
right? You have schedules, so we can figure out how quickly we can get that meeting scheduled.
Right.
He's scheduled to start negotiations next
Right.
week. My recommendation is you guys pull yourselves together, figure out the soonest date you can figure this out,
Okay.
and get a meeting scheduled.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We'll do that.
All right? All right, anyone else want to speak on this item? Okay, so Betsy or Ms. Piedra or Terry, anything to add in light of the comments? Okay, so the staff recommendation is to confirm terms and conditions of employment for members of the former bargaining unit effective as to April 4, 2018. That's the staff recommendation. We have a motion by Mr. Silva.
Madam Mayor, just real
Yes.
quick on the discussion, so then they would, I know you made some suggestions, so again, the accommodation would be that, that their attorney would be allowed
To meet separately and
separately,
privately.
separately,
with-
privately,
With the attorney that's handling the negotiations on behalf of the city this year
Okay.
Right.
And they would be addressing, again, this issue.
The specific issues with regard to, and as I understand it, it deals primarily with the certifications and your opportunities for how those certifications are obtained and maintained and the salary steps that go with that. Is that correct? Got
And,
it.
and again, it's a fresh pair of eyes and ears.
Absolutely.
That we are providing, so it could maybe give us a different perspective
Well,
on it.
and I'm thinking it's not going to be limited to this bargaining unit.
Okay.
Right, so I've got great hopes with regard to this.
Madam Mayor, may I say
Yes.
something? Madam Mayor?
Oh,
So I
please.
think the accommodations that were made, I think that it's a fair gesture from the city, and I hear you, and I agree with you. I think the circumstances are such that this is going to happen, but I think, I know we've said it before, but I do believe that this time around in next year in April, March, when we begin to look at the big picture and how do we distribute our bargaining units, that you'll probably get your wish.
Okay. We really appreciate your engagement and the professionalism, and thank you very much for that. Okay, so this passes 4 with 1 absent, and now we're going to move on to item number 15. Are we going to have pictures with item number 15? No, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words. Well, in your case, it's worth 2,000 words, but this is.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the council. We are happy to be here before you to give you an update on 2 of our code enforcement cases that we have been working on for probably more than a year. And I want to bring Anna up here because without Anna, I don't think these cases. She's the one that would not take no for an answer, and I'll let her give you a little bit of history. But the 2 properties are, well, the first one on your agenda item is 356 West Tile. And Anna, do you want to go through the little?
Good afternoon. So 356 East Hile, both of these cases have been about a year old that we've been working on them. And we have been very fortunate to have been able to do something with these 2 properties. 356 West Hile, my first contact with this property was with our police department. When we went in, the call was somebody was overdosing in the property. And when we went in, that's where it first started with no windows, no working windows and no doors. As time progressed, the copper was stolen, all the windows were broken, more squatters. We also saw that people were stealing electricity from the power pole, and they were also stealing water. They had turned on the water. So as we worked on it,
How could they do that? Wasn't the water and power shut off to the residents?
So at that time, our water meters were not the smart
ones.
meters, they were
Right.
the old meters.
Right.
So it was very easy for anybody to tamper.
To bypass that?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's how they were stealing the water. And the electricity, somehow they connected through the pole and they were able to obtain electricity that way. So what we did is we completely removed the entire water device and cut it all the way from the pole. That way they wouldn't have access to it anymore. And we tagged it. On this property, I was fortunate to get CR&R to clean the property for free. The only cost that we had on the property was the board up, but everything else was done for free. And the removal of an inoperable boat that was staying there.
There was a boat on the property?
Yeah, there was a boat in the property.
Oh, good grief.
Yeah. So right now, the property is been secured and is clean. We did have several of the neighbors come to us and say how grateful they were that finally we were able to do something. And we also met with the great-grandson of the owner of the property, and we're working with him to try and see if he can take the property back and rehab it. Of course, he would have to pay all fees incurred.
Gosh, those neighbors have got to be so thankful. And again, whenever I see Anna pictures like this, I always think, if that's what I had to look at every morning when I'm getting my cup of coffee, looking out my kitchen window, oh, it'd be real sad. So this is much better.
So on this property, we are asking approval to lien the property, and it's for about $3,900, $3,975. And once the property is either is sold or it changes ownership, then the city would get paid the amount spent on boarding it up.
Where is our lien in terms of priority? Is it behind any tax liens? Is it behind any outstanding, is the house paid off, or do we know?
There is a CDBG loan, and there is an outstanding loan.
There's 2 years of outstanding taxes. They have priority. You have a small loan with city mortgage. I think it may be sold to Chase. And then you are in basically second position, not counting the real estate loans. But the owner used the money obtained both from the first mortgage and CDBG loan for the purposes intended and fixed up the property. So it is worth more than some of these. And we took a look at the estimated value to be sure that the cost could be recovered before going forward with this abatement.
Excellent, okay.
Madam Mayor, before you do open the public hearing, I just wanted to make sure, I mean, people that are interested, and I'm assuming there's a market for these types of properties that people can invest in. I mean, they have a clear understanding of the liens that are involved and the cost associated with these types of properties, correct?
Oh, yes, yes.
And that is a non-negotiable item. I mean, that is very clear and evident and recorded, so they know what they're kind of getting into.
Yes, and that's why we're going that route. If you recall, maybe 2-3 months ago, you took action on also recording another lien on another property, and we just got paid on that. The property sold, so we got paid on that. So it's working.
Excellent, excellent,
Just
okay.
One question, Madam Mayor. The $39.75.99, is there any administrative fees, or is that just straight costs? Or do we pass administrative fees?
There's administrative fees, staff time, attorney time, and
Okay,
and the
so
cost.
we are able to recover, if we do get a recovery, we're whole,
Yes.
basically. Okay.
Yeah, there's no overhead as such, but it's straight charge of time for the departments.
Okay, good.
And when will we know if the grandson, is it a grandson you said?
A great-grandson.
Great-grandson is successful in,
We're gonna get we met with him about a week and a half ago, so
Okay.
we'll be contacting him. He was supposed to go back and figure out whether it was worth to go through the probate, because this property, the property owner is deceased, so it would have to go through probate.
okay. And is the great-grandson local?
San Diego.
San Diego, okay. And so what's the process if the great-grandson is not interested, then what happens?
Well, we have two choices. We can foreclose on the property, which has some benefit, or take a deed in lieu because it wipes out the less senior liens. And we might have to do that because it would keep him from having to go through probate. He
Right.
can't give us a deed in lieu unless he goes through probate. So we're exploring a variety of options. Actually, this is one of 7 properties that you have in the city that looks like this, where the deceased owner who didn't leave heirs or a trust or anything like that. And I was talking with community development today, economic development today, about how to set up a program of I'll use the word simple, summary probate, to try to assist these people in either getting possession of the house and being able to sell it, which benefits the city and pays you off, or qualifying, in this case, for the CDBG loan and living in the property, which also has the benefit of going back and providing you an income stream. So
Perfect.
we may
Okay.
look at offering him a summary probate as a test case.
Okay. But that again, we're creating a solution that can be replicated for other properties then.
Wouldn't call it straightforward, but yes.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Okay, this is a public hearing. Are there is there additional presentation for this?
There's another one for the next line.
Right.
item.
And that's a separate item, so, okay. So this is a public hearing. Anyone want to talk about this? Purchase the property just in case a great-grandson doesn't? Can you please come forward? And because this is a public hearing, what I need you to do is please state your name and provide your address, please.
Yes, hi. My name is Ana Gonzalez, and my address?
Yes, please.
Okay, well, the business address is 237 Rockwood Avenue in Calexico.
237 Rockwood
Yes.
Avenue in Calexico.
Calexico.
Did you get that, Diane? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
My son and I, we have a company. Well, actually, I work with him, and we fix properties like this one. So we recently purchased a property in the street that's behind Heil on Hamilton, and we rehabbed it, and it's in escrow right now. We're about to close escrow, so I was looking for another property in the area, and I saw that the signs for the abandonment were posted, so I did also a little research, and I did go to San Diego, but I couldn't find the person, and I went to the street like 1 block away. I believe the son of the lady lives there. So I've been trying to find the owners exactly for the same reason and trying to get them to do the probate and all that stuff. So if you need help.
Let's make sure that your contact information is provided to who? To Norma? Okay.
Yeah.
So let's make sure that that's connected. Wow, we're grateful you're here. That's
Yeah, well, I
wonderful
was
news.
waiting for this meeting just for
Perfect.
that. Thank you.
Well, stay for the next one too, just in case.
2 for 1.
Exactly. Okay, any other public testimony with regard to this? If not, I'm going to close the public hearing and come back and look for adoption of resolution number 18-40 of the City Council, City of El Centro, California, approving the statement of cost for summary nuisance abatement for 356 West Heil and approving the recording of a notice of lien, collection thereon, and related actions pursuant to Chapter 18 of the City Code. We have a motion by Mr. Jackson, a second by Mr. Silva. And that is passed 4 with 1 absent. Okay, you're on a roll, Ms. Villacana.
Okay, the next property, this has been a headache property, and Anna will attest to that. This is 429 Wensley, and last week, on May 9th, on Wednesday, it was demolished by 1-800 Board Up. There are 2 vehicles that will be towed, I think, on Thursday, so.
800 Board Up demolished it as well?
Yes.
Yeah, they did the double.
And they're doing a great job.
And they spent 2 days and didn't raise their bid.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, their bids are really good.
Excellent.
I'll
Okay.
let Anna give you a history.
They cleaned up really good, too.
So this property was a headache. The owner of the property is deceased, and the son, after we boarded it up and I posted all my postings, every day for an entire week, he kept on going and making holes in the walls, not removing the plywood, just making additional holes. So I had to, by the end, it would have ended up looking like the entire house was boarded up just because of the quantity of holes that he was making. And I was very fortunate that we were able to get a demo warrant, or else, I mean, I think this property absorbed all my funding that I had, because it just, for an entire week, every day, a new hole was made.
Are those some of the holes?
Yes.
So he would essentially just pull off the outside?
The wood the house was so deteriorated that you could just pull out the wood and he would just make holes. And so finally I ran out of options. The best thing that could have happened was to demo. Again, several of the neighbors came and they saw that it was boarded up. I had a neighbor that was feeding this gentleman and enabling the whole situation, while the other neighbors were like, why is this happening? So the best thing that could have happened was for this property to be demoed. And it took us 2 days. It seemed like this property was cursed because everything went wrong, but we were very fortunate that it was done and neighbors are happy with the outcome.
Okay, very good. The 2 vehicles?
They will be towed on Thursday.
Okay.
Per fire prevention.
Okay. And will we be able to lien, or do they do a separate lien process for the vehicles?
That's a separate, that's through the AVA program that the
Yes.
county has, so
Okay.
there's no charge to the city.
Although the cost of the demolition are not included in this set of abatement costs, they'll be in front of you on June 5th. We were concerned that we should record this against the property as soon as possible because there was a potential buyer.
Oh, okay.
And we wanted to be sure the lien was there if and when the
Prior.
person.
Okay, so what's the amount on this one?
9,000. $9,691, and the cost of demolition is about 6,500?
Yeah.
65, so we're gonna add 6,500. We'll come back on June 5th with that, another lien for 6,500.
And what do we have in terms of outstanding debt on the property before hours?
Taxes, not a lot of
That's it?
debt. $44,000 in back taxes. That's it.
How, 44,000? 44,000.
Yes. Built up,
They
over
hadn't paid him
time.
for a while.
Federal?
No,
A
it's
variety of taxes, not just property taxes.
I was gonna say, property
No,
taxes is
a variety
like
of taxes.
$1,000 a year on this house. Okay.
Most of the liens against the property are liens placed on it because of the son. They're
I believe there were a couple
Should
of
be
bail
wiped
bonds
out.
and things.
Bail bonds? Okay. All right.
Question about the additional 6,500. That's not something that we can just add to tonight and approve, or?
No, because we haven't noticed it using the process in your code. We debated whether or not we would wait, and we were concerned because Ms. Villacana had some indication there might be an immediate buyer, that we get something recorded. It doesn't appear that's going to be the case, but that's why we split it into 2.
If we need to have a special meeting to get that
So I was
done,
saying-
you'll let us know, because
Okay.
we've got 3 weeks before our next meeting.
I know.
Yeah.
And the 6,500 is only for demolition. We'd also include staff time. Anna
Right.
was there 8 hours, both days
Right.
probably.
Okay.
And we had PD there, so yeah,
And fire.
and fire.
Okay, so if it looks, Ms. Villacana, that we need to have a special meeting, we can do that like at a lunch.
What's the
time.
noticing requirement for that? Is there?
10 days posting and mailing.
Yeah,
And
should
we
have a
do, I do
special-
want to add that the deceased owner's daughter has been actually very helpful. She agreed to both the demolition and the summary abatement.
Oh, that's good.
Now, on a property like that, can you put a manufactured home? Rather than building something from the ground up?
Yes,
could
you can,
just-
but it has to be on set foundation,
Right.
and it has to be basically compatible with the neighborhood. Yeah,
Okay.
but you can.
Okay. Okay, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone that would like to speak to this item? Going to reduce your call volume a little bit.
The guy that went back every night, we arrested him 3 times in like
Yes.
2 weeks.
We have any idea where he is now?
I saw him in the morning.
At this property?
No, he
Oh.
was riding his bike. He was actually arrested the day before, which it worked out. I don't know what would have happened.
We're doing everything we can to help her out.
Yes.
Yeah, there was a small coincidence.
So like the new jail just has a revolving door in it?
Yeah.
What a new design feature.
And he knew that when he got arrested, he would be out by noon.
Ay. Okay, I'm closing the public hearing. Any last comments? We'll go ahead and ballot. That one passes 4-0. If the, do you have like a sister that we can like bring in or clone or something?
She
That
has a
would be
daughter,
awesome.
and her daughter's here.
Okay.
And I want to tell her daughter that we appreciate your mom and all the
Oh,
hard work.
she's
she does.
amazing.
Yeah.
She's like a superstar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Are you old enough to work yet?
We wouldn't work well together.
Well, we'd form a whole nother team.
Yeah. Wait, figure it out.
And then you guys
Okay.
can compete on how quickly you could get things done.
Okay.
There you go.
Very well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on then to item number 17, which is a community sponsorship request. There was a request for funding at the $150 level, and we're going to give them $150 unless somebody has. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
This is their first and only request this year. Do you see anyone here?
Okay. I have a representative from the
Okay.
agency.
Okay.
Will you be giving a presentation?
I think we're just going to give you the money. Everybody's read what it's
Yeah,
for,
we're
right?
good.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you for the request. Liz, great job on the write-up.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
got dinner waiting for you?
Guys, okay, so I'm on East Coast time, so I'm like ready for bed.
You know,
I'm so done. All right.
Madam Mayor,
so
I do
that's-
have to say, I have to step out at 8 o'clock. I have a family situation, but,
Okay, we'll be done by
okay,
then.
all right.
All right, so we're moving on to
We're picking up pace here.
item number 18. I am so excited for number 18, I can hardly stand it. Finally.
It's
yeah, I think
coming.
we're ready to approve it.
We don't even need
I
a
know.
presentation.
Here.
Good job.
All right.
All right.
Motion.
Okay. No, I'm serious. What is there to say? We've
Yeah.
got, what? Okay.
Well,
You got-
Jose
okay.
Lito's here,
I
he's
would
got to
have to say,
record
just
something.
kinda get
He's
it
gotta
out.
record
Okay.
something here.
We're happy to announce that we're building a aquatic
A
center.
pool.
We're ready to go. So it's been a hard project, an exciting project, and a great coordination between city managers. One of the previous positions got started, and together with the design team, Kimmy Horn and Eric from Erickson Hall, as our CM, back when we're getting ready. We're finally ready to start. So do you want? I'll go really fast on this, so not too many slides. So the original design, as you remember it, back in March of 2016, had one lazy river, one pool in the middle for activity pool, and what is the other pool? And a warm-up pools, and it was combined into one pool in the middle in front of the aquatic center. So in that meeting, we went ahead and increased the features. We added a competitive pool and increased it from 6 lanes to 8 lanes. We also separated the warm-up and activity pools, and we included additional shading as well as prep for the additional water slides. So with that, we came up.
Remember the famous saying, "Go big or go home"?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Okay, can we go back to that? Okay, so 8-lane,
I think I said that.
separate, no, you did not, I did.
Oh, you said that? Okay.
I did.
I
You
said,
guys-
what's another couple $100,000?
That was probably
maybe
right.
Maybe that's what I said.
Additional
Yeah.
shading and, okay, infrastructure for a water slide. Okay,
Yes.
got it.
And with that, we came up with a revised a plan. Now you have the 8-inch, not the 8-inch, the 8-lane competition pool. We separated the activity pool and the warm-up pool. That added a new pool. We've added additional shading. We moved around the lazy river a little bit. And to the far right, you can see the future water slide if we go that route. But the plumbing is already there. So
So, Abraham, can you go back? So this is the final design?
yes,
This is what we're getting?
this is what you're getting. This is what you're getting.
I don't know, I think we should change it.
Yeah. Put it out to the community again.
So we have a nice
Nice
big
community meetings, let's start over.
As you can see, we're shutting down Fifth Street, so there's modifications on that ongoing. We've already coordinated with a gas company to remove utilities out of the way with what's what, the power, cable, phone. So everything's prepped and we're ready to go.
We're closing Fifth Street between Park and,
Adams.
Adams.
Parks and Adams. So that was a kind of dangerous turn anyhow, so Caltrans was happy to see it go away. In terms of project funding, we have original tax allocation bonds for $9.5 million, then additional revenue bonds for $164,000. We're leveraging some LTA Metro D funding, $350,000. That'll be on the site work on the street, off-site work. and some signalization changes on the Caltrans side, with a total available budget up to this point of 10 million. We have some encumbrances. That's what contracts that are already out there and commitments to contracts of 955,000. Unencumbered project obligations, that's money that we know we got to expend to pay utility companies and permits and whatnot still. That's not part of this contract, and we're estimated that to be 416,000 or so at the moment. So total available funds that we have for construction is 8.6. So we got a bid of 13 million, plus a 10% contingency of 1.3. The total construction cost that we're asking for budget is 14.3 million. So that created a shortfall of 5.7. And thankfully, we met with our finance director who did magic for us and found some money, so we're very grateful. We have, again, summarizing the tax allocation bond series 2011C and the revenue bonds 2007A and the LTA funding. We found that there is available funding for tax allocation funds to cover the gap and make the project a reality and give us a $14.3 million that's needed for the project. So with that, we're ready to start going. The latest and greatest that I've heard is the contractor is ready to submit his final paperwork this week if needed. The project award, we're hopeful, happens today. We can get the notice to proceed on June 18. That's the standard 30 days that we do. But if the contractor moves forward fast and it looks like they are, we probably can issue the notice to proceed in maybe a couple weeks. We're scheduling a groundbreaking June 20, so hopefully everybody can
Get it on your calendar, guys.
Abraham.
That's huge.
8:30?
8:30.
Earlier the better.
Abraham, I know that, this contracting company met the qualifications for the job, but what can you tell us about this specific company?
Yeah, so Hamo company is, we didn't pre-qualify them individually. We pre-qualified the folks that are going to do the competition items, the aquatic, the pool. Though that's California design, California commercial pools, and they are the ones that are going to be building the pools themselves. The additional site work and the civil and the street and all, that's Hamo. The building, that's going to be Hamo. And we've actually Erica can speak on that, but they've contacted. We've contacted California Commercial Pools, and they've worked with this company before in other endeavors.
Do they have good things to say about them?
Yes, so they have good things to say about them. They also gave us names of other locations in California where they've done work, and the agencies were very satisfied with our work with Hamo. So we have two very strong contractors that are the main contractor and the subcontractor that will be working on this project. So we're feeling comfortable and confident about this project.
Okay. I'm so thrilled I can hardly stand it. Is that it? When do we get to vote?
We're done.
All right. Roll call it. I think we should give our mayor the honor of making the motion.
Oh, you guys, thank you. Thank you. I'm going to be the first one in the pool, just so you guys know.
That's why we made the kiddie pool.
Stop it.
Great job, guys.
Yay, all right. That's so exciting. So exciting.
One thing that we always
Yes.
try to promote is local and participation. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, about local subcontractors.
4 local subs.
Good.
Excellent, well done. Okay. So guys, we just spent like $14 million. Moving on.
Walk in the park.
Council, if you could note, we put a groundbreaking date of June 20th.
Yeah.
Can you guys please put that on your calendar?
Yeah.
Already there,
It's on my
8:30.
calendar already.
Yep,
Yeah.
construction begins 6:25. I have that on my calendar too. I'm going to be there to see that. Okay.
Office for Cheryl. It'll do.
There, yeah. I want my own little office, right? Yeah, okay, perfect. Okay, we're good to go. Okay, appointment to Planning Commission to fill unexpired term. We had some tremendous,
We skipped an item.
oh, what?
Garage ordinance, garage sale ordinance.
Oh, shoot, I'm getting ahead of myself. Thank
Somebody
you.
really wants to go home.
No, you know what I did? I wrote all these notes about the pool and kind of
Forgot
clogged up
everything
my
else.
agenda. Okay, Ms. Villacana, garage sales. This is starting over again with people complaining.
is.
So here we go.
We're getting a lot of complaints, and this was discussed at our last Community Enhancement Task Force meeting. where it was decided that maybe we should prepare an ordinance that for the council to consider to prohibit, well, to allow only 4 garage sales per year. Now, if you recall, back in 1998, 99, the city had an ordinance requiring people to get permits in order to have a garage sale. So basically, we're following that ordinance. We added more language to the ordinance. What we wanted to do is define what is a garage sale. Nowadays, garage sales are considered estate sales, rummage sales. So we want to be specific enough within the ordinance to say, hey, you can only do these 4 times a year in a residential area, and you are going to need a permit. Now, in discussing this with management staff, we were trying to come up, okay, how much should we charge, or should there be a fee for the permit? So the consensus was, hey, why don't we allow the first garage sale permit to be free? In other words, there'll be no charge for the first permit issued to a resident, and thereafter there would be a minimal fee. Now, as to the fee, that's something that we're going to come back in June to be set by resolution. And the fee, of course, can only be staff time. So we're thinking maybe 20, we got to figure that out. So we're going to come back, if that's what the council desires, to have a fee for the second, third, and fourth garage sale permit. Now, some of the important aspects is garage sales will not be conducted more than 3 days in a row, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And the commercial sale of goods is prohibited. We're getting a lot of complaints where people are actually bringing in furniture, new items to sell at their garage sales. So that's within the ordinance. Also, we're making sure that we have some kind of enforcement for signage. As you know, so signage will be limited to 4 square feet in area, and no signs shall be placed in the public right-of-way or public property. Signs can be placed on private property with the authorization of the property owner.
Now, does this include, we see them always stapled to poles, right? So when we talk about utility.
And that's public property.
Okay. Do we need to spell that out, or have we spelled it out? Is that intuitive enough for people to understand that that's public property?
Maybe we need to spell it out, because I understand it's public property, but a lot of people. Yeah.
Right. And do we require them to take the signs down afterwards?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Now, the enforcement aspect is something that we're working on, and I've spoken to Chief Police regarding maybe using the community service officers on the weekends, maybe taking turns with we only have 1 code enforcement officer. So basically, enforcement will be very important, because if we have an ordinance and we don't enforce it, then it's not going to be any good.
That's right.
So the enforcement process will be the same as any code enforcement citation. The first citation would be $100, second $200, and then the third $300. And we're hoping that there won't be a second or a third. And obviously, we need to educate the public. So if the council approves the first reading of this ordinance, what we're going to be using social media. We're going to have flyers at City Hall. We're going to have something in the newspaper, basically advising everybody. Starting, I think the ordinance will become effective July. Starting July of this year, you need a permit. This is the process. The permit process, we're still working on. We want to make it as easy as possible. You can do it online, or you can come into the office. If it's a first permit, it could be done online, because there's no fee. Anything thereafter you would need to pay. So we're still working on it, but we kind of want to give you a heads up and see if this is the direction that the council wants to take, or if you have any changes to the ordinance.
think it's good.
No, but, so I agree with you. I think that once the ordinance takes place, especially at the beginning, really vigilant enforcement is going to be necessary to send a clear message to people. Because I know at least 2 properties, they seem to have a garage sale every weekend.
Yeah.
Right? And lots of stuff. That's one of my questions. How do you know how we're going to be able to identify things that maybe have commercial intent as opposed to personal property?
Well, I think the calls that we've gotten are specific house. It's very obvious because they have like 3 dressers. They have, I know of a house where they have new bikes all the time and new appliances like toasters and ovens, and they're new. I mean, they're in the box. So
do you anticipate as enforcing this ordinance that a code enforcement officer or someone will go around and when they see a garage sale that they'll stop and look around and even if they have a permit, they'll still be able to get out and look around and kind of watch the merchandise and see if it falls within the arena of
that would
personal
be part of
property?
the enforcement. And also what we're planning on doing between now and the time that the ordinance becomes effective, Anna, we've talked about this, and Anna, if we see anyone having garage sales or the ones that we know are having constant garage sales, we're going to go personally and give them a flyer. From now on, you're only going to be able to have 4. We're going to let them know personally because we have a handful of those homes
That we know.
that we know.
Yeah. So I pass by that every weekend. So when
Stop.
so after the ordinance takes place, and we suspect that they're not adhering to the ordinance, do we call, and it's a Saturday, because they're normally on Saturdays. Do we call 911 or what do we call?
Yeah.
How-
Is there an opportunity for people to take photographs and then upload them some way so that there's a record?
We have that through MyGov, yes. And the only coordination that we're going to have to work on is, okay, the code enforcement officer will probably work, or the community service officers will probably be dealing with that Saturdays, maybe Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays in the morning or something.
But actually mine was a serious question. So because we have a large city and I don't know that somebody's going to be able to patrol, all the streets. So is there a mechanism for someone to report that, my neighbor is having weekly garage sales?
Right now, we have a mechanism through MyGov, but that's a good point. Maybe that's something that we need to come up with, because if the community services officer is out there, I don't believe they have access to MyGov. So it's something that we need to come up with, some kind of plan, yes.
And so what happens in a scenario in which our officer goes and they detect new furniture, right, with a permit, but new things that are clearly commercial? Then what happens? Do we stop them to put everything back, or what's the penalty at that moment?
Well, they would be cited. I would say cite them, because the ordinance clearly states you cannot, sell things from the outside, bring things from the outside. So if it's going to be a judgment call. If we see a lot of different types of furniture and they're moving out, okay, it's going to be more of a
but let's say that we
judgment call.
clearly identify that they're selling commercial things, commercial merchandise.
Yeah, I mean, we're.
So warning means go ahead and continue your day?
A warning looks like a citation, but it says warning on it. A citation is a citation under your administrative citation process. The first fine is $100. Second one is 2 or 3, goes up to 5 on the
But
third.
they won't be asked to cease that activity that day. They can continue that day
No,
with a
we
warning?
would ask him to cease that activity because they're
The
not
ordinance
compliant.
provides
yeah.
that they will be asked to stop the activity and take down their signs.
Okay,
But they could also be cited.
okay.
We really need to get the word out, because those folks are probably stockpiling
Yes.
right stuff now, right? And so,
To kind of take that next step from Mr. Silva's question is, so if they're getting the citation and they're being told to stop, what's the teeth into making them stop? Because I mean, if they're looking at it, they're like, hey, I'm gonna have to pay $100 ticket, I might as well keep going and sell more stuff to the end of the day. What's that next, I mean, is there another hammer that we have that that falls, or do we just walk away and say, well, here's your $100 citation, you know?
My recommendation would be to, okay, walk away, but then come back 30 minutes later or an hour later and
And
make
cite them
sure.
for the second time?
And make sure that they're not doing that.
So does the ordinance allow for a second and third citation of the exact same violation in the exact same day?
Yes.
Okay. That's good. So we're
That'd
gonna,
be up to
so
$600.
somebody's gonna have to be the example.
Gotta be earning
Because-
a lot of money, and once it goes up there, assume you went back a second weekend and they were doing it again, it's gonna be another $500 citation. And when you hit your third administrative citation, you can change to, shall we say, a different category of citations that are treated as a misdemeanor. I'm not suggesting you would go there, I'm saying there is increasing teeth with increasing violations.
Yeah, I'm just saying is if there's not gonna be the strong teeth in it
Yeah.
to hit them the second time or the third time, even if it's in the same day,
Right.
they're just gonna blow it off and say, well, if they're selling $1,000 worth of merchandise through, to the end of the day, they might as well and pay the $100 ticket.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay. Well,
I'd also get them for a business license too. There's some things that can be done.
Okay.
Okay, well, I think it's really, really important that we get the word out as quickly as possible as we continue to fashion what this is gonna look like. Right?
No more yours, sis.
What?
No, we're good.
Okay, so, this is an introduction, is this, are you ready to put teeth on this, or do we need to bring it back? We're good.
If this is the direction, yes, we're ready, and we'll.
Lots of teeth.
We'll coordinate the permit process, and that's what we're working on.
Right, and the reporting process. Okay, awesome. Well, you're off and running. Anna, you now have garage sales added to your list of things to
Since we
do?
got rid of the other two houses,
Okay,
you didn't have
so-
anything to do, so.
Okay, so, real quick, I'll repeat myself. We had some excellent applicants for the planning commission to fill the unexpired term of the new city manager in Calexico. So it is my recommendation that we appoint Al Juarez, retired from Imperial Irrigation District. I interviewed 2 of the 3 candidates and thought that either would have been an outstanding choice. So I'm asking for concurrence from the council. He spoke very highly of you, Alex.
Yeah, he's a pretty good guy.
Well, wait, pretty good?
Whoa.
No, he's a great guy.
If he
Oh,
spoke
okay,
highly
well-
of Alex, can I take
Yeah,
my vote?
yeah.
Okay, so that passes for Zip. Norma, he is gonna be going out of town like the 30th of May. But he'll be back in time for the first meeting in June. But I told him that I think there is some kind of orientation and some other things, so you'll contact him? Very good, thank you. Okay, ledge update was part of our agenda packet. Any questions on that?
No, we'll have some for your next meeting.
Very good, okay. A couple of informational items. Anything else we want to talk about? Okay.
Just real quick, I'm going to step out, Madam Mayor, but I just want to say 3 things. One, I thank our police chief for being our Kiwanis program. He was my guest at our Kiwanis last Friday. Appreciate you being part of that. Also want to thank Ms. Marcela Piedra. She was the keynote speaker at the University of Phoenix Career Symposium. And so she did a great speech. She's a former UOP alumni. And, Ms. Piedra's quite an effective public speaker. So thank you for being part of that process. And other than that, looking forward to the Public Safety Summit on Friday.
Awesome sauce. Mr. Jackson?
Just attended Dancing with the Stars and watched our pro tem do very well, and also had the opportunity to attend the El Centro Regional Award ceremony that they had, the recognition, which I
Pretty
thought
cool, huh?
was very cool, and very proud of the employees of El Centro Regional to have such a high recognition. National Day of Prayer on the 3rd, and then also participated in the Wellness 2K walk, run. I walked the whole thing. And vied for last place with Mike Reed, and you'll see some photo finish
Okay.
photos out there. But it was
Last
a good
person
time,
in?
and
Okay.
it was nice to have everybody out there. That's it.
Attended the ACRMC celebration of the, you know, being among the top 10% of the hospitals in the entire nation. That's quite an accomplishment.
very
And
cool.
kudos to our hospital staff. Also attended the Binational Education Week that was hosted by the Mexican Consulate and made a presentation to the people there on our Casa de Cultura at the old post office and the activities that go on there. Also attended the Veterans Celebration of an Imperial, a good recognition of our veterans. Dancing with the Stars was a huge success again this year, our 11th consecutive sellout. It was challenging to have the event at a place that is not designed for events. You know, Mr. Garcia is not here, but in talking to him, he now supports the notion of an event center in the city of El Centro, because it was just, we do need a facility that can accommodate.
I'll say Marcella your wife did an amazing job
Yeah.
in the decorations there. I mean, you couldn't even tell what it was. It was just very, very well put together.
Yeah, thank you. I'll share that with her. And also, look forward to the Binational Public Safety Summit. I think we're up to 90 plus. We stopped it, right?
What?
We stopped.
What?
We stopped registrations 90 plus, and these are mayors, commanders, fire chiefs, FBI, Border Patrol, CHP, really well-rounded group of public safety individuals. So it's going to be a really nice event.
Yeah. Awesome. Very good. So let's see, had the opportunity to go to the Future Communications Forum, the Power of Shared Data. Ms. Piedra was there and came back with some really great information. There's a Future Communications Initiative pilot program. There's going to be some call for projects, and I'll get together with you and probably Ms. Villacana on that to see if there's something we can do there. Then we have the SCAG Regional Conference and General Assembly, Southern California at a crossroads. Thank you, Mr. Jackson, for coming up for that. So they were giving away copies of the big ones, How Natural Disasters Have Shaped Us. So if you want to read a book that just scares the bejeebers out of you as to living in California and kind of all of the weird stuff.
Legislation in Sacramento?
No.
Oh, it's
but you know, it really it's pretty dynamic. Earthquakes, floods, tsunamis, hurricanes, volcanoes. So anyway, I'm donating this to the library for anybody else that wants to get scared out of their wits in terms of natural disasters, so they can have that. That was followed the next day by the ASCE San Diego Section Awards Luncheon. And Mr. Campos was there, our city manager, Lisa, right? And so I know there's pictures floating around of us. They had this Cinco de Mayo theme, and they had all of these sombreros around that they wanted us to wear, and I'm like, you're kidding me.
Oh, I need some of those pictures.
No, you don't need any of those pictures. But anyway, it was an outstanding event in San Diego, and I'm just so proud of staff. SCAG really wants to get some pictures before and after, because that's where we had the pop-up Go Human event, and then you won the award. That's very cool. And then that night, that was a really busy Friday, because it went from SCAG to San Diego and back here in time for the Imperial Valley Law Enforcement Memorial at the courthouse. And Commander, you did an amazing job on behalf of the entire event was very well done, and you as the host or MC just made us very proud. So that was great, and I'm looking forward to Friday. That's going to be an all-day event. What else is coming up? We have an Ashley Furniture Mixer from 5 to 7. I'm going to be meeting with the El Centro Seniors Club on Thursday. And don't forget the Imperial Valley Food Bank Grand, right? The groundbreaking is also on Friday. I don't know how we're going to fit all that in, but. Anyway, so it's been really busy. It's great to see all of you. I think one of the things that it just seems like this year we've already lost some really key members of our community with the passing of Norma Sycon and Gary McFetridge and Ralph Menville. So I think that we'll go ahead and close in their honor this meeting tonight. So thank you all for being here. All right, and this meeting's adjourned.